Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. I'm going to continue going through the interviews with the staff that the detectives did. I'm going to go through the housekeeper and the housekeeping supervisor on this video. So let's jump right in.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Lewis.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just a Jim Minter.
I'm Delia Lewis.
Nice to meet you.
Same thing's also met you the night of.
Yes. Let me turn off my phone.
It's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, can you tell me everything that happened on January 27th?
Okay.
Like, your involvement from,
The time I was called.
to the end?
Okay, I was called and to go clean the patient's bathroom in ER around, maybe 2 o'clock or so, I think it was the time, I'm not too sure. So when I went in there, it was a gory, bloody massacre mess.
Could you describe it if possible?
Yeah, there was blood everywhere. There was blood on the floor, on the wall.
Do you remember which wall?
The one behind the toilet, and then the one on the side, right here. You know, there's the one where the toilet sits, back of that.
Yeah.
And then on the side.
Where the call button is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the floor, everywhere. I mean, it was.
Was it like this is the bathroom, here's the toilet and the sink, then here's the door. So was it just like this, or?
Actually, it was all over the place, all over the floor, because even when I was going into the bathroom, there was blood on the coming out of the bathroom on the floor.
Okay.
So it was everywhere.
Okay.
So there's blood coming out of the bathroom? Do you know
Yeah,
how far it
footsteps.
went? Okay.
I think they were the person that was in there, her footsteps. And she was coming out, so I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, it's even out here.
How far out did you have to clean to get it?
From the outside,
Yes.
right by around the water fountain,
Where's the water fountain at?
right there.
Oh, right next to the restroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it's on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it went out to the water fountain. Did you have to clean like the hall or anything at all?
I mopped up that area right there.
Okay.
And was it footprints?
Yeah, I was.
Was there footprints in the hall?
Yeah, when, I guess she stepped on it, and then walked out with it, and then their socks were wet.
Okay.
But it wasn't all the way to her room or nothing like that. It was just right by the water fountain.
So just footprints in the hall to water fountain?
Yeah.
Okay. And what else happened?
Okay, then I went in there, and then I started cleaning. I started. First thing I did was I started mopping, because we couldn't be walking around on that blood.
Okay.
So I started mopping, and then I started. After that, I started wiping everything down. Then I went to the toilet, and I cleaned the toilet, and then I got everything. I had to do everything like twice because it was, bad. I wiped down the walls and everything. And after I did all that, I usually throw my trash first, but for some reason that night I had to clean the floor up and everything else. And when I went to go through the trash, I felt that when I picked up the trash and I looked in it, there was there was trash in it, but I knew that it didn't feel like when I picked it up, it was some weight. So I thought it was the trash bags, because we put the trash bags on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started getting the trash out, and then when I did that, I seen that there was a baby in there. And that's when I freaked out, and I called Lori and HT, or the nurses up front, and because there was a baby in the trash.
This poor housekeeper, her job is to clean the hospital. So she goes in, not only is she dealing with a horrific, bloody mess, but then she finds a dead baby in the trash. How horrific.
And the baby, when I looked at it, the baby was wrapped up like in like at the bottom of the trash can, and with trash on top of it, in a trash bag.
And so how did you see it, like as soon as you picked it up?
No, after I picked up the trash bag that was on top,
Okay,
where
so
they were throwing the trash at, when I picked that up to change it, that's when I noticed that there was, when I seen the baby.
Okay, so you lifted the liner and then saw
Yeah.
baby, okay. And I know this bugs you, but can you like describe the baby?
Yeah, he was about that big. He had hair, and he was like purplish, but still not like pink. You know, I don't know how to describe it. You know, he was like, he wasn't bruised or nothing like that, and he was like purple, pink skin type color.
Okay.
How was the bag? How was the bag placed, or what?
It was like she wrapped it around like that, and then wrapped it like under him, and then put him on the bottom of it.
Okay. And was the baby moving at all?
No,
Okay. Did you touch him at all?
no.
Okay. And so you said you called HT and Lori?
Yes.
Okay. What happened? What did you see after that? What did you do?
Okay. When all that happened, I moved the trash can. I told him that there was a baby in the trash. I could barely talk at that moment, and so then they took over, and I left. I mean, I went up to the nurse's station, and then they called the doctor and everything and all that stuff.
After that, did you have any contact with the baby?
No.
Okay. And then what happened after that? After you went to the nurse's station?
Oh, I went over there with the baby.
What did you do?
I just stood there and I was freaking out, and everybody was, asking me what's going on and whatever, and I stood. I didn't go back over there where they were at.
Okay. And then, was that whenever I showed up, or?
Yeah, that was about the time you showed up.
So you were just at the nurse station until I showed up and talked to you?
Yeah, well, after that, I went back to EVS, to the department I work at.
Okay.
I went over there and trying to get away from that for a moment. And I went there for a little while, and then they called me and told me that you were coming in for me to go wait in the ER.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
Okay. And other than this, is there anything that I asked you that I haven't asked you that you think I should know?
No, I think it's all.
Think that's it? Okay.
Yeah, if I can remember of something, I'll write it down. That way I won't forget.
All right, and Great Chair, Cynthia has my contact information, so if you need to call me, and there's his card as well, you can let us know, okay?
Okay.
Are you doing anything to make sure you're okay?
No, I'm not doing anything right now. I thought maybe I could do it on my own, but there's some days that are harder than others. So when I feel that way, I feel, see, I just went through a trauma in 2018. My boyfriend in Carlsbad blew his brains out in front of me, so he committed suicide. So I was traumatized over that for a long time, and then now this, so it's kind of, sometimes I have a problem with it.
Nothing wrong with asking for help, okay?
And I don't know if you're a churchgoer or, I don't know what faith you are, but sometimes that helps as well.
Yeah, in fact, that's what helped me with my boyfriend, the churches.
Right.
That's what I turned to.
So you might.
Because I was looking for answers, and there's no way I could ever find out why he did it, because he's not here to tell me.
Right. Well, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I really am.
And, well, when all that happened, I had to see a psychiatrist and for therapy, and the therapist put me on all kinds of medication. I was like a walking zombie, you know, and I didn't want to feel that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to come out and do something for myself, because he was the main provider. I had to come out and work, because, how was I going to survive?
Right.
So that's when I came here, and I applied, and they gave me this job that I have now. If it wasn't for them, I don't know what I would be now. The hospital has really helped me out.
Good.
And so they offered me, when I applied, I told them my situation, I'm like, my therapist didn't think it was a very good idea for me to work here, but I'm going to give it a chance, because she said that I could probably have a relapse if I were to see like a lot of blood and a lot of, let me give me that chance and see if I can. So I've been here 4 years now.
Good.
So it helped me out a lot, but yeah, they have a lot of help here, like with behavioral health and everything. But I just wanted to get off of that medication, and I did it myself, because I didn't want to feel that way no more.
Right.
But I had to face reality.
Nothing wrong with that.
So have we asked you, have we not asked you anything that we should ask you, or do you have anything that?
No, I think y'all asked me everything.
Okay.
And like I said, if I remember something, I'll write it down.
Yeah, just let us know.
And let you know and call you and tell you about it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
And just like I said, talk to people, talk to friends, talk to family. If you go to church, talk to your priest.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, it'll help.
Okay. Yeah, and then with this, I just top things off for me. So.
Right.
Yeah, just shake it off, take a deep breath.
Okay.
One day at a time, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
This was so horrible when I first watched her interview. This woman went through her boyfriend unaliving himself. She went through massive trauma that she's still dealing with. She decided to work for the hospital, and then she encounters Alexi and the dead baby in the trash. So I really hope that she's doing okay, and I can't imagine, how much this is affecting, her and the rest of this entire staff. This is not something that they normally see. Yeah, they see a lot of horrible things in a hospital, but a baby thrown away in the trash is definitely not one of them. All right, and next up is the house supervisor's interview with the detectives.
Oh, Lord.
Is that a bad thing? I'm Marina.
I've met you before.
I have seen you lots of
I
times.
met you too.
So, Detective Gonzalez, Detective Mentor.
Okay.
So we're just talking to you about the incident happened on January 27th.
Okay.
Can you just tell us from the beginning of your contact with the patient or the baby from last contact with either? Yes.
Okay. So I was up at the medical floor, and the ER tech had called and said, the doctor wants you to call in the on-call lady for the ultrasound. So I'm like, okay. So I called in the ultrasound tech, and then I don't know how much time lapsed. I don't know that the house supervisor phone rang again, and it was the girl from the lab, and she's like, Marina, they need you here in the ER right now. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Because I had noticed the ER board on the computer. There was like maybe 2 or 3 patients in the ER, I'm not sure. And she's like, well, and I'm like, it's okay. I could just tell by her voice something was wrong. So we hang up, and I take off to the ER. And as I'm coming in through the radiology department into the ER, I meet up with Lori and HT, who was the charge nurse that night. And HT says, okay, look, this is what's happened. This girl came in with abdominal pain, and once we put her in a room, she said she needed to go to the bathroom. We let her go to the bathroom, and she was there for a good while. They had several attempts to knock on the door and ask her, hey, are you okay? Do you need any help? And she said no, she was okay. And so I guess they felt like she was in there for too long, so they were like, hey, you need to come out. They went to get the little key that could open the door. And, excuse me. So I guess when they opened the door, they saw that she was cleaning. She was trying to clean blood. They said it was a horrible, gory, bloody mess in that bathroom.
See that?
I did not see that. So then they walked her back, I guess, to her room, which was ER room 2. They walked her back to the room, and at this time we still didn't know that there was a baby. So they said that they went back into the ER room 2, and I guess they reported to the doctor saying, hey, here's all this blood, like something's going on. And of course, you start thinking of like, what if she tried to do this? What if she tried to do that? Like they didn't know. So then the ultrasound tech still hadn't got to the hospital at that time yet. So the doctor's like, you know what, I need to probably do like a pelvic exam to look, because like what's going on? Why is there so much blood? So the charge nurse HT says that, they were in the room and probably trying to set up for the pelvic exam when Lori, the ER tech, had already called Leela, the housekeeper. Hey, can you come and clean this bathroom because there's a lot of blood? So Leela went to clean, and she had already been cleaning pretty much everything when they said that the last thing that she lifted the trash can and she realized that it was heavy. And so then she was like, like, this is weird because this bathroom trash has never been heavy. So she said that when she looked, that she wasn't sure what it was, but she kind of thought that what she was seeing was maybe like a baby. So she says that she yelled out for Lori, and Lori went in there and grabbed it, and I guess sure enough realized that there was a baby in there. So Lori yelled out for HT, or went to get HT. I'm not sure exactly.
Were you at the nurse's station at this point?
No, they still had not told me about that because they didn't know that there was a baby. So I was still at the medical floor.
Okay.
And so then HT, when he's telling me this story, HT tells me that he goes, grabs the trash can, and he lifts the bag, realizes there's a baby in there, so he takes it right across the hall to Trauma 2, tears open the bag, realizes the baby's there, and it was
you
lifeless.
didn't witness any of this?
So at the time, he's telling me that, so he's like, so come on. He's telling me everything I just said is from HT's story.
Okay.
And so then he's like, so come on, here it is. And so I walk into the Trauma 2 room, and sure enough, the baby's on the gurney where he had placed the baby, lifeless. And the trash can is right by the gurney. So, like, of course, I was in utter shock. Like, we were all just in shock. And so they had already called the police. The doctor, I think initially at the time, was about to do a pelvic exam to look to see where all this blood was coming from. And HT had gone and told her, hey, I need you right now, like, you need to come with me. And took her to Trauma 2, showed her what had happened.
And were you still in Trauma 2?
So, no. So, that happened, like, before.
Oh, okay.
That happened before I got there. So then, when HT told me all of that, when I came out of Trauma 2, HT and Dr. Vasquez, and the authorities, the police officers were just getting there. And I know that Dr. Vasquez went and HT went out, like, to that little area inside the hospital, but like where the ambulance comes in, and they kind of were giving the police like a heads up of what had happened. So then after that, I really didn't know what happened because I was on the phone with my chain of command because I needed to know, like, this has never happened. I didn't, as a house supervisor, I didn't know what I needed to do, if there was any paperwork that I needed to do, if we were supposed to register this lifeless body. Like, I didn't know. So
you called your chain of command, for guidance?
I called, yeah, for questioning. So I called Patty, who's the CNO, Patty Bartok, and I called her and I said, hey, look, this is what's going on and I need to know what I need to do for legal purposes. And so she was like, well, Marina, I don't really know. Let me have you call Cindy Buck, Cindy Buck is in charge of medical records, and she deals a lot with the birth certificates or death certificates. And so she said, so why don't you call her and then I'll get legal on the team, on the phone and see if I can find out what needs to be done. So, but then after that, I was on the phone with Cindy, and then after that, Patty was calling me, and then all of administration basically were calling me,
And is that your job?
That's my job.
That's your job?
Yeah, as a house supervisor, I'm in kind of charge of, everything that happens during the night in this facility. And so, And even Dr. Salgado called me and was wanting to see what had happened, and he told me that he was awake, he was already planning on coming in, to speak to the doctor. And so Cindy Buck actually had told me, okay, yes, we need to register the baby. And as a Jane Doe or whatever, infant male, but there's also a paper that I need you to, ask her. There's a paper that you need to ask her, and the nurses fill out. And it's very important that that we know whether or not the baby took a breath or whether or not the baby did not take a breath. And I said, okay. Well, so at that time I said, because every nurse by that time had been telling me that this patient had been kind of changing up little bits and pieces of her story while she was in the presence of her mom, I guess. So when I said, okay, I'll try to, get the truth out of her, then Cindy was like, well, whether you have to ask the mother to leave the room, but we need to know. Mm-hmm. So I went and I found the form that Cindy was talking about, and I go into the patient's room and I introduce myself, and I said, there's just a few questions that I need to ask you, and most of it was first and last name, date of birth, social security number, which she didn't know, and then whether or not she knew, whether or not she took any kind of medications, and then so I said, right now it's very important that you're very honest and truthful with me. I said, and it was just she and I in the room, and
Mom wasn't there?
Mom was not there.
Okay.
And I said, did your baby take at least one breath when it first happened, or did it take at least one breath, or was it not breathing? And then she kind of looked at me in the face and the eyes, and she was like, well, can I tell you? And I said, tell me what? And she said, so I've been having this bad abdominal pain, she said, and we came here to the ER, and when they brought me back here to this room, I felt like I needed to go poop. She said, and I asked if I could go to the bathroom. She said, and so when they said, yeah, that I could go to the bathroom, she said, when I sat on the toilet, she said, it just all fell out. And she said, but when I had it in my arms, it wasn't breathing, it wasn't moving. And so, of course, you want to be very, very judgmental at that time, and you have to bite your tongue sometimes, but my first reaction was I wanted to say, hey, well, then why wouldn't you call us for help? But I didn't. She said, so he wasn't moving, he wasn't breathing, so I just placed him in there.
I'll tell you what, this staff, I think they handle themselves exceptionally well. Like she says to these detectives, she wants to say certain things, but she was being a professional. And remember, the doctor was all about her well-being after everything. So she wanted to ask and inquire about all the same things that we all want to know. Well, why couldn't you ask for help? You're in a hospital. I don't get it. Again, I believe personally that this staff did an exceptional job. And I really hope they can get that evidence put back in through the Supreme Court appeal. I truly, truly do.
Was that the last contact you had with her?
Then I asked, so do you have, was it a steady boyfriend? She said yes. And then I said, did he know that you were pregnant? And she was like, no. I said, did you know that you were pregnant? And she said, no. And then I said, so do you want to include him because there was a section for like the birth certificate. And I said, so do you want to put his name down as the father? And she said, for what? And I said, this is all new to me too, so this would probably be for the birth certificate as well as a death certificate. And she said no, that she didn't want to put him down. And I said, okay. So I think she had to sign it, and she signed it, and then that was it. That was the only contact that I had with her.
So she didn't want to put her sweetheart on there. As if the autopsy and DNA is not going to tell them later on that he was the father of this baby.
And then, of course, they were transferring her to Roswell to be seen by an actual OBGYN doctor. But that because after that, I was just on the phone with my administration team.
Because you're in charge of like the whole operation, so you just had to make sure everything was flowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to make sure that if there was paperwork that needed to be signed or filled out, that I needed to make sure that was done before she got transferred out.
Okay, so you just handled her paperwork before she got transferred out. So you said, how long have you've been here? A while?
Yeah, I've been here at this hospital for 23 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Going back to when you were talking to her and she said it wasn't breathing,
Yeah.
and did she say I just placed it in the trash?
She just
what?
said I didn't know what to do. She said I didn't know what to do. So I mean, and I don't even really, to be completely honest, I don't know if that was her wording that she placed it in there. I don't know. I don't remember her wording, but I just know that she said it just all came out and she had it in her hands and that she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do at the time, and so I'm like, I don't want to say that she said that she placed it because I don't remember.
That's okay. You don't have to.
That's fine. That's fine.
So, other than what we asked you, is there anything else we didn't ask that you think we should know?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't
Okay.
think.
All right. Well, if you have any other things that you like tomorrow, you're like, oh, I forgot to tell them this. Cynthia has my contact information, so you
Okay.
can let her know.
Okay.
And that's Minster's contact information.
Okay.
If you have any more questions, comments, anything you want to add, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for
sounds
coming
good.
in.
You're
Thanks.
welcome. Thank you.
It's just unfathomable. As long as I've been covering this, it still is shocking to me to rehear this staff tell what happened. She didn't know what to do, so she said she just, put it in the bag. I mean, come on. You don't put a human being in a trash bag. Alexi knew better. I do believe she has been coddled for her life up till this point by her mama. But she was 19 years old when she did this. She's old enough to have sex with her boyfriend, old enough to conceive a child, and she claims she didn't know what to do, so she put it in a bag and hid it in the trash. No. She's had sex education. She's had all this education. She was graduating high school not long after this. I don't buy it for a hot second that Alexi didn't know what to do. Was she shocked and stunned and all that? Oh, I'm sure she was. She's probably like, holy crap, what the hell am I going to do? But she knew you don't put a baby in the trash can. All she had to do was ask for help. So whether her baby took a breath or not, I believe it did, from what the autopsy states. But again, this has been a contention as far as a lot of the issues between the state and the defense. on whether it drew breath, and also this whole situation with the drugs, which I think is garbage because none of those drugs are going to cause any of this stuff. But if she would have asked for help, baby probably would have been alive today. And because of her lack of compassion, her lack of care for anyone but Alexi, in my opinion, she murdered her baby. And I believe she needs to answer for it. And I truly hope that she does. I'm going to just leave it with those two for this one. I'm going to try to keep these interviews with like a couple at a time. Maybe 3. But I don't want to keep them too long. So let me know what you guys think. The housekeeper broke my heart from the first time I heard her talk. She was the one that found the baby. She had to clean up this horror show that this girl on the screen left. Blood everywhere. It's just so horrific. I can't imagine that this girl made any kind of good decision at all that night. And you don't accidentally put a baby in a trash bag and then hide it. It doesn't work that way. But as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm always interested in what you guys think, especially on the this housekeeper and the supervisor for the evening there. And with that said, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.